My name is Andrew Field. I'm a historian of modern China and of Shanghai. I've spent years uncovering this city's many layers. This time, I'm going to tell the compelling saga of a few journalists who found themselves in this metropolis in the early 20th century. They came by chance with little understanding of China. But the gathering storm of war transformed them into war correspondents. Unleashed on a city utterly unprepared for its fury. Ordinary people caught in the crossfire, documenting the resilience of the Chinese people. Their dispatches from the front lines became the first witness to a nation at war, revealing a force destined to change the fate of China. Shanghai, a gateway metropolis where global currents of people and ideas have long converged. If these walls could talk, what stories they'd tell. Take this building, for instance. Today, it's the Shanghai Telecommunication Museum. But rewind to the early 20th century. This was part of the Great North Telegraph Building Complex. One day in 1928, a young American who had never been to China before steps into the building. "My schedule says 6 weeks, no more," he remarked to his Missouri alumni, newspaperman J.B. Powell, who rents an office in this building. But this young man was about to find himself swept into a drama far grander than he could have imagined. He would spend the next 13 years in China, evolving from a curious traveler into a committed journalist and a crucial interpreter of China's destiny to the outside world. This young man's name was Edgar Snow. At 23, Edgar Snow arrived in Shanghai, a city of dazzling glamour but simmering tensions, a microcosm of China's turmoil. Snow stayed and found work as an assistant editor at Powell's publication, China Weekly Review, and also served as a correspondent for various American media outlets. Over the next few years, he traveled extensively throughout China, peeling back the layers of this ancient civilization. He witnessed a nation grappling with modernity, torn by natural disasters, warlords, mismanagement, and internal chaos. China was also fractured, riven by civil war, as Chiang Kai-shek's Kuomintang government attempted to consolidate its power and crush the rising communist movement. Then, in 1931, a new and ominous force entered the equation: Japan. The war arrived in Shanghai in January 1932, exploding in a brutal battle that would forever alter Snow's perspective. Right here, this preserved section of railway isn't just a relic of the past. It is a powerful reminder of a pivotal moment in history. This was the site of fierce fighting, where the Chinese 19th Route Army bravely resisted the invading Japanese Marines. Edgar Snow was not far from this very spot when the Japanese launched their initial assault. He witnessed firsthand the full carnage, the shocking brutality of modern warfare unleashed on a city utterly unprepared for its fury. Snow, filing one of the first dispatches for the New York Sun, became an accidental war correspondent. It was the deliberate targeting of civilians, the wanton destruction of cultural heritage that ignited a moral outrage within him. This experience led to his first book, Far Eastern Front, which gave a voice to the Chinese people, exposed Japan's aggression, but was largely ignored by a West not yet ready to listen. 6 years would pass before Nazi Germany invaded Poland, and 8 years before Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor. China at this moment stood largely alone against the rising tide of fascism. For Snow, one burning question remained. What force could unify this fractured nation against such a powerful enemy? This question followed him to Beiping. There, he connected with student movements and hatched a daring plan to breach the Kuomintang's blockade and reach the mysterious Chinese communists who were advocating for a united front. At that time, Red China was an enigma, a land shrouded in darkness and rumor. Access was almost impossible, but a connection forged in his Shanghai days would provide the crucial key. Song Qingling, Dr. Sun Yat-sen's widow, provided Snow with the help he desperately needed. Madame Song used her influence to aid Snow in slipping through the Kuomintang's blockade to reach Yanan, the heart of the Chinese Communist Revolution. And the rest, as they say, is history. In Yanan, Snow witnessed the revolutionaries, long demonized, and interviewed their leader, Mao Zedong. This journey culminated in his international bestseller, Red Star Over China. The book offered the Western world its first glimpse into the enigmatic Red Army and Communist China, detailing their mission and resolve. A New York Times book review called the events detailed in the book one of the major facts of modern history, for it portended the long-predicted awakening of the Chinese people and the frustration of Japanese imperialism. Edgar Snow left China in 1942. His 6-week stay became 13 years, transforming him into a bridge between worlds. Years later, Edgar Snow returned, publishing The Other Side of the River, a reflection of his revisit to China. The title itself was a powerful metaphor, a symbol of the deep divide between East and West, and his enduring mission to bridge that gap, a message that still resonates today. Shanghai, a city of dreams, then and now. Beneath this glittering modernity, layers of history, stories etched into the very stones of this city. Wukong Mansions. Today it stands as a rather chic address, a popular destination for visitors to Shanghai. Built over a century ago, this building is a silent witness to countless human dramas. One such story which I'd like to relate revolves around a resident here in the 1930s. She arrived with little prior knowledge of China, yet her experiences here transformed her into a passionate advocate for the Chinese people. Her name was Agnes Smedley. In 1929, Agnes Smedley arrived in Shanghai as a foreign correspondent. In her mid-30s, she carried the scars of a life defined by poverty and hardship. This furnace forged within her a fierce independence and an unshakable empathy for the downtrodden. Shanghai, a booming international port, was a tinderbox of tension. Western powers held sway, the Kuomintang crushed dissent, and gaping inequality festered. Yet within this volatile city, left-wing movements ignited, drawing Smedley to companions in arms. In Shanghai, Smedley found a kindred spirit in Lu Xun, a towering figure in modern Chinese literature, a writer who wielded his pen as a weapon against injustice and championed the cause of the oppressed. Their shared outrage at the inequalities they witnessed forged a powerful bond of friendship and intellectual solidarity, solidifying Smedley's commitment to giving voice to China's unsung and deepening her understanding of the Chinese struggle. Their bond transcended cultural and linguistic barriers. Smedley gifted Lu Xun her own autobiography, capturing his image at his birthday. He, in turn, entrusted her with translating his vital works and welcomed her into discussions with fellow writers. Their conversations blazed with shared outrage against injustice, fueling a mutual hope for China's future. But while the salons of Shanghai sparked ideas and nurtured thought, it was the roar of Japanese bombers in 1937 that ignited action. Smedley traded city comforts for the smoke-filled hills of northern China to see and to tell what the world refused to face. For months, despite battling infirmity, she trekked through rugged mountains, embedded with the 8th Route Army, the military wing of the Chinese Communists, engaged in a desperate struggle against a far superior enemy. She recounted their daring maneuvers, their respect for civilians, and their determination to resist.
It can be said that practically the whole population arose wherever the 8th Route stepped foot, so that the 8th Route had two expressions heard on the lips of every man in its ranks. We are the fish, and the people are the water through which we move. And wherever a Chinese stands, that is our front and our rear. That is our base. Wherever there is Chinese territory, that is our base.
War's brutal realities fueled Smedley's appeals for aid. But her dispatches stood out. She focused on the human cost. Smedley gave voice to the rarely heard, women, peasant soldiers, ordinary people caught in the crossfire. Through her prose, the world saw a Chinese resistance rooted in the strength of its unsung.
Today I saw a peasant soldier of China die. In him was embodied the death of 1 million men of China who have given their lives that their country may not be subjected, and their people enslaved. There was nothing of world importance in this man's dying. He left no uncompleted work, no labor that others could not do. He made no inspiring statements as he died, no messages for his friends, his family, or country. I wander restlessly through the hospital where he died, and the hillside where he and so many others like him are buried. I think, it is easy to march off to battle to the plaudits of family, friends, and lines of watching citizens. It is easy to die in the limelight, knowing a nation will honor you, and your life be used as a model to others. But this man Wu, and 1 million others like him, fight and die in obscurity, unwept, unknown, unmourned. In the future free society of China, they will have no share. Did they know that when they picked up a rifle? How ugly he was in death, and how beautiful. How tragically great the common men of China.
Agnes Smedley arrived an outsider. She left a voice for the voiceless, a witness to history, and a true ally to China. Her legacy, a resolute commitment to revealing the human cost of conflict and injustice, deeply valued in China to this day. This is the Great World Amusement Center. For nearly a century, this building has stood at one of Shanghai's busiest and most iconic intersections. On August 14, 1937, the second day of the Battle of Shanghai, a bomb dropped from the sky, exploded here, causing unimaginable chaos and calamity. Amidst the carnage, an American journalist rushed to the scene, meticulously documenting the devastation in his notebook. He had long foreseen this widening conflict, a war that was destined to engulf not only China, but the world. His name was John Benjamin Powell. J.B. Powell arrived in Shanghai in 1917. He soon took the helm of a local publication, China Weekly Review. Shanghai became his home. This vibrant land captured his heart, and he grew to understand, then passionately defend China.
He very much enjoyed China and living there, and he liked Chinese. He became a Chinophile, somebody who actually loved it, went there and fell in love with the country.
In September 1931, Japan's invasion shattered the fragile peace, irrevocably altering his life. Powell traveled to Dongbei and was among the first to alert the world to Japan's aggression. He would go on to claim until the end of his life that this was the true beginning of World War II. From that pivotal moment, the China Weekly Review, under Powell's resolute editorship and with its international reach, took an unyielding stand, exposing and condemning Japan's escalating aggression. Powell emerged as one of the most powerful and outspoken Western voices challenging Japan's expansionism. His resolute commitment to truth drove him to publish Edgar Snow's groundbreaking interview with Mao Zedong, introducing the communist leader and their determination to resist the invasion to Western audiences for the very first time. In 1937, the Battle of Shanghai. The war arrived at J.B. Powell's doorstep. Seeing this brutal conflict firsthand, so close to everything he knew, strengthened his unwavering belief in the absolute necessity of stopping Japanese militarism. Many of Powell's urgent warnings about Japan's intentions fell on deaf ears as the U.S. remained isolationist.
The United States tried to maintain neutrality because we were selling munitions to the Japanese. We were supplying them with iron, steel, copper, all the metals. It's shocking. But that's the nature of capitalism. It knows no boundaries, It's not wedded to any country, or it's only driven by profiteering.
As Japanese forces tightened their grip on China, the dangers associated with Powell's fearless reporting escalated dramatically. He was blacklisted, and he even faced assassination attempts. Yet he remained undeterred.
Americans begin quitting the city of terror. This is no place for innocent neutrals, and Uncle Sam wants no part of the Orient struggle.
As the situation in China deteriorated, many Westerners fled. Not Powell. He stayed, committed to telling the world the truth, whatever the cost. The World War Powell foresaw finally arrived. After Pearl Harbor, his defiance made him an immediate target. He was arrested and taken to the Bridge House, the feared headquarters of the Japanese secret military police. His powerful pen was silenced by imprisonment. After months of suffering, Powell was finally released in a prisoner exchange in 1942. He returned to the United States, a shadow of his former self. But he remained a powerful voice, sharing his experiences with the American public and shedding light on the horrors of the Japanese occupation.
name is John B. Powell, P-O-W-E-L-L, Powell.
In 1946, he stood witness at the Tokyo Tribunal, ensuring that the world would never forget the price of aggression. Though his health would never fully recover, he wrote his memoirs, My 25 Years in China. In the end, he wrote, I am convinced that after this war is over, China
will once more forge ahead as a nation, and that her future will be one of importance to all the world. I hope to have some part in that future as I have had in her past.
The Huangpu, for centuries Shanghai's lifeblood. This river has always been a vital artery, pumping trade and dreams into the heart of China. As we glide toward the Bund, imagine a different era. The roar of steamships, the shouts of dock workers, and among the new arrivals, a young, aimless college graduate named Jack Belden. He arrived not on a pleasure cruise like this, but as a sailor. Little did he know that this arrival would set him on a course to become one of the 20th century's most insightful war correspondents and chroniclers of a revolution that would shake the world. Jack Belden arrived in Shanghai at 23, a former merchant seaman seeking adventure. He embraced the challenge of the Chinese language and found work on local English language newspapers, immersing himself in the city's intricate social fabric. Jack Belden would often walk across this bridge on the way to the Jiangsu Shanghai 1st District Court. As a court reporter, he had a front row seat to the lives of everyday Chinese. It would help him sharpen his Chinese and give him a deeper understanding of the struggles people faced here. When war came in 1937, Belden was already living China's story. Hired by United Press, his Chinese fluency gave him direct access to the front lines, witnessing the brutal invasion firsthand. His raw, unfiltered reporting came at great personal risk. This dispatch in May 1938 characterized his style of reporting.
I boarded an artillery train yesterday in an attempt to reach Tancheng. This was a mistake, as Tancheng is still in Japanese hands, and the train was attacked 10 times by airplanes and forced to return yesterday. Once the train slowed down, 6 planes sideslipped and dived towards the railway. I jumped from a freight car and threw myself on the ground. There were terrific explosions and the air was filled with shrapnel and debris. The train stopped, but the aviators failed to hit a car carrying ammunitions. Along with the soldiers armed with German 1892 rifles, I took refuge in a wheat field which the planes strafed with machine guns and then flew off. Food supplies are dwindling rapidly. Yesterday I had only 2 radishes which I pulled in a field.
Belden witnessed China's desperate early resistance as ill-equipped forces suffered defeat after defeat. But he saw an unyielding spirit, a glorious display of Chinese resolve, a stark contrast to Western skepticism. By 1938, Jack Belden had traveled 10,000 miles through 9 provinces, earning him a reputation as China's most intrepid war correspondent. But he was restless, determined to understand the forces shaping the conflict. When he learned of a Chinese army still fighting near Shanghai, he embarked on a perilous journey to reach them, the legendary New Fourth Army. The trip wasn't easy, as he described it.
I was riding on a bamboo raft in the early morning light. and slowly drifting downstream. I had never been on a bamboo raft before. As soon as I stepped onto it, my feet got soaked through. The weather was cold. A thick mist hung over the water, and in the chilly and damp air, I couldn't help but groan, longing for a bit of sunshine. The bamboo rafts traveled for 8 hours. Finally, following a path around the mountain, I reached the base area of the new Fourth Army.
Belden uncovered an army outgunned, yet with an iron will and ingenious guerrilla tactics. He diligently documented their fight, their challenges, and their striking effectiveness. Crucially, he found the unquestioning support of the local populace. The new Fourth Army wasn't just battling Japan, they were winning the hearts of China. Belden's report was not only a journalistic scoop, but also an important morale boost. His dispatches were translated into Chinese and widely publicized, adding to the belief that China would prevail eventually. Belden continued to expose the horrors of war, including the Japanese use of chemical weapons in China. He then moved on to the European theater during World War II, solidifying his reputation. In 1946, Belden returned to China, now embroiled in civil war. His fearless reporting culminated in his seminal work, China Shakes the World, capturing the truthful and powerful story of a revolution that altered China's fate.
Jack Belden's work was the product of his unparalleled immersion in Chinese society, his mastery of the language, and his deep empathy for its people. A potent blueprint, perhaps, for anyone who truly seeks to understand the nation's ongoing story. This is the Shanghai that Harrison Foreman captured from this very spot along Suzhou River. The imposing Broadway mansions stand almost alone on this side, while across the water, Pudong was largely undeveloped. Look now. This vista, once so empty, is a testament to the relentless dynamism of Shanghai, a place where East meets West in a breathtaking dance of modernity.
It was here in Shanghai, amidst this ever-evolving landscape, that Harrison Foreman's lens began to tell a momentous story, his extraordinary journey through a China at war. Harrison Foreman arrived in Shanghai in the early 1930s as an explorer and aviation salesman. Photography was initially a tool for exploration, and Shanghai became his compelling subject. But in 1937, Japan's full-scale invasion transformed Foreman from a curious observer into a frontline witness, from a casual traveler into a war correspondent. He ventured far beyond the city, trekking through China's war-ravaged heartland. His photographs and dispatches captured not just destruction, but a nation's unbroken fortitude. After Pearl Harbor in 1941, Harrison Foreman, like many Westerners, saw China in a different light. No longer a distant battlefield, it was now a crucial ally in a world war. His dispatch to the New York Times prompted the paper to publish an article titled "Japan's Gift to China." In it, the Times wrote,
"In spite of the fathomless misery which they set out to inflict upon her, and did inflict upon her, they have caused her in 5 years to make more industrial progress than she otherwise might have made in a generation."
For Harrison Foreman, the war was transformative. He wasn't just capturing moments in history. He was documenting the resilience of the Chinese people. But amid the wreckage, he was also deeply troubled.
Foreman saw China's deep fractures. The Kuomintang blockaded communists, while Japan remained the true enemy. His photos showed a nation under siege, but one piece was missing: the communist heartland of Yanan. In 1944, after years of denial, Foreman gained rare access. What he found defied Kuomintang portrayals: disciplined, organized, and deeply committed revolutionaries. He interviewed nearly all of the communist leadership and photographed freely. Foreman embedded with the 8th Route Army, witnessing their battles firsthand. He saw soldiers living among the people, upholding strict codes of conduct, earning trust through service. It was an army unlike any he had seen before. In his notebook, he wrote,
"These Paluchun regulars may not have been the best equipped troops I had seen in China, but they certainly were about the best trained and best disciplined ones. Soldiers in almost any other army on a route march carry their rifles as they please. These carried them parade fashion, angled on the shoulder, and marched all day that way. At overnight stops, the people don't mind taking them in because of 8 Don'ts Creed for all Paluchun. They clean up all houses, return all borrowed articles, all exemplary in behavior, and treat well of Lao Pai Xing. This is something revolutionary in Chinese military history. These Paluchun are proud to wear the uniform, and the people are proud of them."
Harrison Foreman's Yanan notes became Report from Red China, giving the West one of its first glimpses of wartime Chinese communists.
4 years later, he witnessed the Kuomintang's collapse and Shanghai's liberation. The same disciplined soldiers he had once met in the north now marched into the city. Balu, or 8th Route Army, as he still called them by that name in his diary, slept on the streets, protected the city, ensuring Shanghai remained intact. Not a single historic building he photographed was destroyed.
Today, Harrison Foreman's photographs continue to serve as a bridge between past and present. But his photographs are more than just pictures. They are echoes, they are insights, they are an undeniable testament to the truth that history at its core is a tapestry of people's choices.